A little while ago, I was very fortunate to be sent some supplies from Etchr to test out. You may have seen my review of their watercolour sketchbook, which is now very much full and very much battered because it's been round Asia and off to Australia with me. What I haven't tried yet is the set of watercolour brushes. So let's have a look at them and see what I think. They come in a really nice roll, just a black roll, so nice and practical, won't show the dirt. It's got the little Etchr llama on it, lined with more llamas. Before I go on to the brushes, let's just check the roll. Well, what can you say? Really handy if you're going off to an art class or out painting, just to keep everything together. So yeah, that's good. And there's, oh, I was just about to say there's an extra pocket for putting other things in, and it's sewn up. What a shame. Wouldn't that have been good if that had, you could have put an eraser, bigger brush, a few pens? Oh well. So no, that is not a handy pocket. Okay, my first impressions just looking at this is, oh, because these are really small brushes. I would always suggest that you use a brush that feels a little bit too big for the area you're painting. This is if you're wanting to paint in a loose style. If you are doing botanical art and incredibly detailed art, doesn't apply, but that is not the way I paint. Looking at the size of brush, let's see what size that is. It's a 12. I would say you could probably paint maximum, what's that, about 20 centimetres by 15, or what's that in inches, 7-8 inches by 5. You're not going to paint a full sheet of watercolour paper or a half sheet, so that's a first impression. They are small. My other first impression is, oh god, they've got a fan brush. I am not a fan of a fan brush because they are a waste of space. And let me explain why I say that. Just grab a brush, really old brush, just get it wet. Oh, I need a fan brush. So I just hold it at the heel of the brush, splay out the bristles, and I can use it as a fan brush. So there is no need to have one in a set. I have to say, do like the funky handles. So I've just been really rude about that fan brush, but I do like the funky handles. On the technical side of this, they're wooden handles. I believe they're aluminium ferrules, so they won't rust. The set is vegan, so there's no animal products in it. The biggest brushes are 12. We've got down to 10, 8, 6, 3, and that must be a 1. Okay. Then we've got a couple of flats. We've got a 1/2 inch flat and a 1/4 inch flat. 1/4 inch flat is really useful for softening edges and lifting. I'll show you that. And then there is a little chisel, and that's a 3/8. I would say is missing from this, apart from a bigger round, is a rigger. If you're not familiar with riggers, it's a brush with very long bristles like this, and the Victorian maritime artists used to paint their rigging with it on their boats because it gives a really long line but a really fine line, and I love them because they're a really flexible brush. You don't have a huge amount of control, so it gives a really natural look to your mark. Now you can see, gosh, all the paint's come off this brush, so it would have been lovely to have a nice shiny new one. Swapped that fan brush for a rigger, I'd have been a lot happier, even though those sizes are small. I've got a little chisel brush in here, and I'm not sure why. I'm not sure that's terribly useful either. Now, a brush that is useful is something like this, which is called a dagger. Let me put that against my hand and you can see it. Called a dagger because, amazingly, it's shaped like a dagger. Show you this one, and that would be called a sword because it's a bit longer. Doesn't matter whether you call them a sword or a dagger. Now, those are very useful as brush shapes because they have a really good fluid holding capacity there, but you can get very fine marks, and it's lovely for foliage and things like that. Being negative here, aren't I? But we'll try them out and see them. And for you, if you paint a lot smaller, what I'm saying might not be appropriate. I guess it might be helpful for me to put my money where my mouth is and say what I would want to see in a set. And for me to be happy when opening a set up, I would want to see a large round, at least a 14, if not a 16. I would like to see a medium round, about an 8. Want to see my rigger, about a size 2. And then, yes, a short flat. And that would keep me very, very happy. I would be able to paint pretty much anything with those, up to, as I say, even a full sheet of watercolour paper. Might struggle with the sizes, might put that up to a 10 if I was doing something bigger. The extra thing that if I was feeling flush that I might put in would be, I don't know, something like a flat. This is actually a long-handled one, so it's not right to show you, but about that size of a flat can be useful, because sometimes changing the shape of your brush just changes the shape of your mark, and that's good. So 4 or 5 brushes really is all you need. When you get new brushes, they come with these little protective things, and you might be very tempted to use it and then put it back over the top because you think, ooh, that'll protect my nice brushes. Don't, because what you'll do, this is okay because it's still all solid from manufacturing, but if that was soft, you try and put it over the top and you will catch bristles and break them off as you push it down. So take those little protectors off and throw them away. What you might notice when you get brushes is that they're hard. The reason they are hard is that after they've been made, they're dipped in a solution of gum arabic just to keep them beautifully in shape. Of the gum arabic off them and soften them up. Just sort of try and snap them. Just swizz them in your water and it'll dissolve out, and you will now have a nice soft hair. All those, get rid of that gum arabic solution. So let's have a quick play and see what they feel like. But with a watercolour brush, you're looking for it to come to a good tip. You are looking for it, to see how much what we call spring it has. Does it boing back into shape? So natural hairbrush is a lot softer. You're also looking for how much fluid it holds and how it releases that fluid. Does it just release it in a big puddle, or does it release it in a controlled way? Just do some leaf shapes. So point, pull, point, pull. That point is lovely. Anything in particular, let's just see what it feels like as we use it. Turn these on. This is the strangest plant you've ever seen. Doesn't really matter, does it? So that's the size 12 brush. Doesn't seem to be releasing the paint in a big splurge, so that's really good news. Let's use one of the slightly smaller ones. We'll have some little smaller leaves or something. Come down. Little, I don't know what this is. Is it a bouquet? Bouquet of leaves. I'm noticing a few random hairs. I'll get that out at some point. But I think that's almost inevitable. Look, I don't know if you can see closely enough for those hairs. Let's make that stalk a bit thicker. And let's grab a slightly smaller brush. Oh, what should we do? Should we have some berries? No, you really can't fault those points. They're great fun. Pink berries. That is releasing a lot of water at once. But that could just be my poor technique. They certainly feel very nicely balanced to use. They're generally not splurging out lots of fluid at a time. So the question is, how much do they cost so that you can judge whether that's good value? This set with the 10 brushes in the carrying case are currently on sale for £45 from Jackson's in the UK. That's where you can get Etchr products from. In the US, they are about $49, so relatively less expensive given the exchange rates. And in Australia, they seem to be about $69, $70. I've just done a rough search. So those are obviously Aussie dollars. So that gives you an idea of the price. If you paint pretty small and in a very controlled way, not using a huge amount of water and say not painting large paintings, you might want to consider this as a set. However, if you paint larger and looser, this isn't the set for you. They're just not big enough, and there are brushes in there that are just a waste of money in my opinion, and it's missing a few crucial things.